Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a situation. Starts out normal, right? An adult sleepover party.
Yeah, sounds like fun.
But then, the next morning, a tragedy. Someone's found dead in the backyard.
It's jarring. Immediately makes you ask, what happened?
Exactly. And for one family, those questions have been echoing for years. Today, we're taking a deep dive into a really perplexing case, Tamla Horsford.
A 40-year-old mother of 5.
Right. And her death back in 2018 initially ruled an accidental fall.
But that's just the beginning of the story.
It really is. As we dig into it, you'll see why her family, and actually a lot of other people now, believe there's much more going on.
There are layers here.
Definitely. So our mission today, explore all the details we can find, the official findings, sure, but also all those lingering doubts. It's compelling, sometimes heartbreaking stuff.
And we're drawing on quite a bit. News reports, family statements, police documents.
Trying to give you the full picture as much as possible. So let's rewind. Go back to that night. It helps to, set the scene. It's November 2018. We're in Cumming, Georgia, and Tamla Horsford arrives at her friend's house.
Her family described her as a supermom, a ray of light. Sounds like a really vibrant person, originally from St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Yeah, charismatic, fun-loving. She's there for an adult sleepover, a birthday party for her friend, Jean Myers.
It was Myers' 45th birthday.
And the idea, apparently, was an all-girls sleepover, specifically so people wouldn't have to drink and drive. Sensible idea.
Makes sense.
But one detail that stands out, Tamla was the only Black person attending.
It's noted in the reports, yeah.
She brought an overnight bag, a bottle of tequila, her favorite, apparently, and even changed into, like, a fun pajama outfit. A white onesie with paw prints.
So settling in for the night.
Totally. What were they doing? Watching football, LSU versus Alabama game, playing Cards Against Humanity?
Standard party stuff.
Pretty much. Now, it was mostly women, but 3 men were there, too.
Right. Myers' boyfriend, Jose Barrera, and another guest's husband, Tom Smith.
And a third guy who just dropped off and picked up his wife later. Barrera and Smith were downstairs watching the game first, then came up.
Okay.
So Tom was drinking her tequila. She also smoked some marijuana. Myers apparently teased her, called her the female Bob Marley.
A bit of banter, but what was her state? How intoxicated did she seem?
That's a key point. Witnesses and even photos and videos from the night suggest that even though she was drinking, she didn't seem sloppy drunk or incoherent.
So functional, enjoying herself.
Exactly. And her sister, Summer St. John Jones, was very clear about this later. She said, never, ever, ever have I seen my sister sloppy drunk and incoherent.
So I doubt that she would pick a sleepover with people she was just getting to know to start behaving that way.
Yeah, that's the quote. It casts doubt on the idea she was completely incapacitated. Okay, so the night goes on, starts winding down, and this is where things get fuzzy and ultimately tragic.
The timeline becomes critical here.
Right. Around 1:30 a.m., the host, Jean Myers, and her boyfriend, Jose Barrera, they go to bed.
Okay, so some people are turning in.
Then, the last confirmed sighting of Tamla alive. That was by another guest, Bridget Fuller.
When was that?
Her husband picked her up at 1:47 a.m. Fuller said Tamla was eating some gumbo.
Humbo, okay.
And said she planned to smoke one more cigarette before going to bed herself.
One last cigarette. Seems plausible.
But then there's the security system log. It shows the back door opened at 1:57 a.m., then closed, then opened again, and stayed open.
Open, closed, then open for a final time at 1:47 a.m. That's specific.
Very specific. And that's the last recorded activity related to that door.
So we have this party, the last known moments, that door activity, and then silence for several hours.
Exactly, until the next morning.
Which brings us to the discovery. How does this fun evening, turn fatal? And what were the very first assumptions?
It's a huge jump from gumbo and a cigarette to, well, what happened next?
Yeah. So hours later, around 7:30 a.m., though some accounts differ, maybe 8:45 a.m. because of daylight saving time.
Okay.
That detail's a bit murky. Emma's aunt, Madeline Lombardi, who lived there, she goes to make coffee, and she finds Tamla.
Finds her where?
In the backyard, face down, motionless.
Oh, my God.
Lombardi said she recited a prayer, then went to wake up Myers.
Okay. And then the 911 call.
That comes at 8:59 a.m. It's Jose Barrera, Myers' boyfriend, who calls.
What does he say?
He describes Tamla as face down and not breathing. He also says she's stiff.
Stiff, that implies.
Rigor mortis might have been setting in, yeah. He mentions a small cut on her wrist and actually suggests she might have fallen off the balcony.
He suggests the balcony fall theory right away.
He does. And you can hear a woman's voice on the call, presumably Myers or the aunt, also speculating about a fall.
Interesting. Police arrive when?
9:07 a.m., they pronounce her dead at the scene. EMS is canceled.
So the initial theory starts forming almost immediately.
Pretty much. The Forsyth County Sheriff's Office, the FSCO, they quickly lean into the idea of an accidental fall from that second-story balcony.
How high was it?
About 14, maybe 15 feet.
Okay. And the autopsy, what did that show?
The initial one was done by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, the GBI. They found multiple blunt force injuries.
Like what?
Injuries to her head, neck, torso, arms, legs, abradings on her face, a dislocated right wrist, a broken neck, and crucially, a laceration to the right ventricle of her heart.
A heart laceration from a fall.
That's what the report associated with the fall injuries. The toxicology also came back.
Let me guess, alcohol?
Yes, a blood alcohol level of 0.238.
Wow, that's high. Almost 3 times the driving limit in Georgia.
Definitely significant.
Yeah.
They also found traces of Xanax, alprazolam, and THC from the marijuana.
Xanax too, okay.
So with the fall theory, the injuries, and the toxicology, the case was officially closed pretty quickly, February 20th, 2019.
And the official reason?
No evidence of foul play. Major Joe Perkins from the sheriff's office basically said it was a party, they were drinking, she was on the deck alone, case closed, accidental fall.
But that's where the official story ends and where the questions really begin to pile up, right? For Tamla's family, this neat conclusion, it just didn't track.
No, not at all. Their grief was just amplified by this feeling that something was really off about the whole investigation.
We already heard her sister saying Tamla wouldn't get sloppy drunk like that.
Right. And they raised other points too, practical things.
It's like the weather.
Exactly. It was a cold November night, remember? Down to maybe 35, 40 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
And Tamla was from the Caribbean. They questioned why she'd be outside on a balcony in just her pajamas, no shoes, no jacket, and that kind of cold.
It's a fair question. It doesn't quite fit the picture of someone just casually stepping out for a smoke, maybe.
It adds a layer of doubt to the simple she was alone on the deck idea.
And then their attorney, Ralph Fernandez, he gets involved and starts pointing out some really specific issues, things he called red flags.
What did he focus on first?
Autopsy photos, or rather, the lack of them.
What do you mean?
He said despite asking repeatedly, the police never provided them. He called it unheard of. His words were, "It's never happened. It defies logic." He suspected it was done at someone's direction.
No autopsy photos. That seems fundamental for a death investigation.
Right. The GBI later confirmed only 5 photos were taken. Just 5. Which Fernandez and others said was unusually low.
Okay, that's flag number 1. What else?
The injuries themselves versus the fall theory. Fernandez talked about the multitude of injuries. He felt some looked like defensive injuries, especially on her hands and wrists.
Defensive injuries imply a struggle.
Exactly. And he mentioned inexplicable post-mortem bleeding. Then, an independent medical examiner they consulted, Dr. Adele Shaker, added more.
What did Dr. Shaker say?
He looked at the dislocated wrist injury. He said it was actually a compound fracture, and crucially, he believed it happened after she died post-mortem.
How could he tell?
Because of the lack of blood at the scene associated with such a severe break. He also noted that some broken bones in her skull didn't have corresponding bruising, which he said raises the flag about the fall being the sole cause.
Wow. Post-mortem injuries and lack of bruising. That directly contradicts the simple fall narrative.
Hugely. So the autopsy photos are missing, and the injuries themselves raise serious questions, according to these experts.
Those are some incredibly damning inconsistencies right there. For you, what single red flag here most undermines that original accidental fall theory?
Oh, man. It's tough. The postmortem injury claim by Dr. Shaker is powerful, but honestly, the lack of autopsy photos, that just feels fundamentally wrong for an investigation. It breeds suspicion immediately.
It suggests either incompetence or concealment, neither of which is good.
Exactly. And Fernandez wasn't done. He also pointed to issues with her body's position.
How so?
She was found flat, face down, almost directly under the balcony edge.
Which might seem consistent with a fall, maybe?
But the homeowner, Jean Myers, initially insisted Tamla's arms were by her sides, palms up.
Palms up?
Yeah, which contradicts the initial scene photos that showed her left arm bent with the palm down.
It's a direct contradiction about the body's position from a key witness versus the photographic evidence.
Yes. And even the deputies on scene seemed confused. One was recorded saying, "It doesn't make sense. It's kind of like a nosedive."
A nosedive doesn't sound like a typical fall from a standing position.
It suggests a different kind of impact or body trajectory.
And that kind of discrepancy at the scene, those first moments, that can be so critical. Did the attorney raise issues with how the scene itself was handled?
Oh, absolutely. That was another major point, the scene handling.
What went wrong there, according to him?
Basically, it wasn't treated like a potential crime scene initially. It was never secured. No fingerprints were taken from the deck or balcony area.
No prints in a death investigation.
Nope. And during the autopsy, no sexual assault kit was performed, and they didn't take fingernail clippings.
Which could hold crucial evidence if there was a struggle.
Precisely. Fernandez called this highly unusual. Then there's the issue of moved evidence.
Moved evidence.
Why who? Jose Barrera, the boyfriend who called 911. He admitted to the police that he had moved Tamla's body.
Why?
He said he was checking for a pulse. He also admitted he moved an unlit cigarette and a lighter that were on the deck near where she might have been.
Moving the body and potential evidence before investigators processed the scene.
That's a huge problem.
A major breach of protocol, yeah. And then the security cameras.
Ah, yes. Barrera mentioned cameras on the 911 call.
He did. But later, Gene Myers claimed the batteries had died and the cameras weren't actually recording that night.
Convenient.
It seemed that way to the family and their attorney. And finally, that Xanax.
Right, found in her system, but she didn't have a prescription.
Correct. Tamla wasn't known to take it recreationally either. Fernandez just flat out questioned how it got into her system. No one at the party admitted giving it to her. So putting it all together, missing photos, questionable injuries, body position discrepancies, poor scene handling, moved evidence, dead cameras, unexplained Xanax.
Yeah. It led Fernandez to that strong statement. The case is compromised from start to finish. He wasn't definitively saying murder, but...
You're saying foul play seemed overwhelmingly probable and the investigation was bungled.
Exactly. Mishandled was his word. So, despite all these questions being raised by the family and their attorney, the case was closed. And for over a year, things were relatively quiet. Publicly, at least.
But those doubts didn't just disappear. They were simmering online.
Right. Kept alive in forums, social media discussions. But it really took a huge nationwide event to thrust Tamla's case back into the spotlight.
Before that big push, though, there was an incident that drew some attention, wasn't there? Involving Jose Barrera.
Yes, good point. About 2 months after Tamla died, Barrera, who worked as a Forsyth County court officer, he got fired for improperly accessing the official incident report on Tamla's death multiple times using his work credentials. He even leaked some info, including personal details about one of Tamla's close friends.
Accessing the file inappropriately and leaking info. That definitely raises eyebrows.
It certainly fueled the suspicions already brewing online. The hashtag Tamla Horsford started gaining traction then. People were smelling smoke.
And then came the summer of 2020.
Yeah. The murder of George Floyd sparked massive protests against racism and police brutality across the country.
The Black Lives Matter movement gained enormous momentum.
And suddenly, Tamla Horsford's name started appearing alongside others like George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. Her picture was on protest signs. Her story got amplified hugely.
People were connecting her case,
Yeah.
especially the questions about the investigation and her being the only black person at the party, to broader issues of systemic injustice.
Absolutely. A Change.org petition demanding the case be reopened just exploded. It got on 700,000 signatures.
Wow, huge public pressure.
And celebrities got involved, too. Kim Kardashian, 50 Cent, T.I. They all used their platforms, calling for a new investigation. Some posts were very direct, claiming she was murdered or beaten and thrown off a balcony.
So the pressure wasn't just online whispers anymore. It was loud and public.
Overwhelmingly so. And it worked. Forsyth County Sheriff Ron Freeman, under all this pressure, formally asked the GBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, to reopen the case.
This was June 2020.
June 12th, he made the request. The GBI agreed about a week later, June 18th, promising an independent investigation.
So, a second chance to get answers. A fresh look by the state agency.
That was the hope.
And what's interesting here is even with the GBI taking another look, it didn't necessarily simplify things. If anything, it uncovered more unsettling details about how that first investigation was handled.
So what did the GBI ultimately conclude in their reinvestigation? Did they find foul play?
Well, their final report came out July 28th, 2021, in their conclusion. Essentially the same as the first time.
Really? After all that?
Yeah. They stated that the facts and investigative findings do not support pursuit and prosecution of criminal charges. They largely agreed with the initial sheriff's office ruling. Accidental fall due to intoxication.
So officially, still an accident.
Officially, yes.
Yeah.
But the GBI report did bring some new, troubling things to light about that original investigation.
Okay, like what?
First, remember Jose Barrera admitting he moved Tamla's arm?
Yeah, to check for a pulse, he said.
Right. He told that to a Lieutenant Kalin from the sheriff's office initially. But when the GBI interviewed him, he denied it. He called Kalin's report bullshit.
So a direct contradiction in his own story to investigators?
A major one. Also, his phone records showed no network activity at all between midnight and 10 a.m. that morning.
Okay, what else came out?
This is a big one. The lead investigator from the original sheriff's office probe, Michael Christian, he resigned.
When?
October 2020. Well, the GBI review was happening, actually. He was facing an internal affairs investigation.
What was he accused of?
Sending confidential case information, including crime scene photos of Tamla's body, to women he was having affairs with.
He sent crime scene photos to people outside the investigation.
Yes, unbelievable, right? He also reportedly made derogatory remarks about Tamla, calling her porch lady.
That's appalling.
And he sent these bizarre Snapchat messages. One read something like, "Greetings from racist cracker bastard murderer covering up land. It's a nice rainy day, good for digging shallow graves."
He sent that about a case he was investigating.
He admitted sending them, claimed it was sarcasm and poor taste.
Poor taste doesn't even begin to cover it. That completely destroys any confidence in his objectivity or professionalism.
Absolutely. It raises serious questions about the integrity of that initial investigation he led.
So not only were there questions about the scene, but now the initial statements are shaky, and the lead investigator's conduct and credibility are just shattered.
It paints a really grim picture of how that first look was handled.
This level of misconduct, wow, it really offers a chilling insight, doesn't it? How personal bias, negligence, whatever you want to call it, can just poison the whole process. It creates doubt where you desperately need clarity.
Exactly. And the GBI report revealed more about Christian, too. His actual theory about the fall changed.
It changed how?
Initially, investigator Christian apparently believed Tamla died from a fall at ground level, maybe tripping over landscaping near the house.
Not from the balcony.
Not at first. He only shifted to the balcony fall theory after the medical examiner told him her severe injuries weren't consistent with just a ground-level fall.
So he adjusted his theory to fit the ME's findings rather than the other way around.
It certainly looks like it could be interpreted that way, like fitting a narrative after the fact.
Okay, what about the Xanax? Did the GBI figure out where that came from?
Still no definitive answer. They confirmed Tamla had no prescription. Party guests denied giving it to her. But the GBI did find text messages confirming that one partygoer did have a Xanax prescription and had a history of sharing it with other friends.
Ah, so maybe?
Well, that specific partygoer admitted giving Xanax to a different friend the morning after Tamla died, but strongly denied giving any to Tamla herself.
So a potential source was identified, but no direct link to Tamla giving it to her was proven.
Correct. The origin of the Xanax in her system remains an open question.
Did the GBI look into anyone else?
They did focus on Tamla's husband, Leander Horsford, for a time. They got search warrants for his phone and social media.
Find anything?
No relevant evidence connecting him to her death, according to their report.
So even after the second GBI investigation, the family, they still weren't satisfied.
Not at all. Tamla's mother, Elizabeth Pott, said, "We just want justice. I just want justice." And your sister repeated, "We need answers that make sense. None of this makes sense."
They're left with the same official conclusion, but now with even more disturbing details about how badly the first investigation seems to have been handled.
Exactly. No closure, just more questions. And if we take a step back, connecting this specific case to the broader context, well, the environment where this happened adds yet another complex layer.
You mean Forsyth County, Georgia itself?
Yes, it has a very specific and, frankly, very dark history regarding race.
What kind of history?
Back in 1912, there were accusations against black men involving white women. It led to white mobs violently driving out almost the entire black population of the county, over 1,000 people.
They drove them all out.
Virtually all of them. And for decades, Forsyth County remained almost exclusively white. It became known as a sundown town.
Wow. I didn't realize the history was that extreme.
It's a significant part of the county's past. Even by 2019, the black population was still tiny, only about 3.6%.
So Tamla being the only black person at that party, it happened in a place with this deeply troubling racial history.
It's a context that many people felt couldn't be ignored when evaluating the investigation. And there were also connections noted within law enforcement itself.
Connections how?
Well, Sheriff Ron Freeman, the one who requested the GBI review, he himself had faced accusations of racism in the past. He'd been forced to resign from a different police force in 2014 after photos surfaced of him posing with racist mammy dolls.
Seriously. The sheriff.
That was reported. And then, among the deputies who responded to the 911 call at the house,
Yes.
there were personal connections to some of the party-goers. Body cam audio caught one deputy acknowledging having mutual friends with Jose Barrera. Another deputy apparently said to a party-goer something like, "Your boss is my wife."
So deputies knew people at the party, potentially even worked with or for them or their spouses.
It appears so. Small-town connections, perhaps, but in the context of a death investigation with so many questions, it adds to the appearance of potential conflicts or biases.
Right. Now, just to be clear for our listeners, we're presenting these historical details and these alleged connections because they're part of the sourced reporting around the case.
Exactly. It's about providing the full context that has been discussed publicly.
Yeah.
We're not taking sides or endorsing any viewpoint on bias, just relaying the information that's out there as part of the story's background.
It's crucial context, though, for understanding why the doubts persisted so strongly for so many people. Wow. This has been quite a deep dive, incredibly complex and really just emotionally heavy.
A lot to process.
You've heard the whole arc now, from what seemed like a normal party to the tragic discovery, the initial investigation, the family's fight, the public outcry, the second investigation, and still so many unanswered questions for Tamla Horsford's family.
Yeah, the official story remains a tragic accident, a fall likely influenced by alcohol and Xanax.
But against that, you have all these persistent